What's happening, everybody? We're out here today messing around with the El Camino and our big block Blazer, trying to get some stuff figured out, and we're doing a couple little changes to the El Camino, which you guys seen in the last video or a couple videos ago. We pulled the distributor out and the carburetor off. We picked a curve that we thought was good for this combination and got that installed. We got everything reinstalled. We upped the carburetor jetting 2 more jet sizes on the Ultra XP 850 here, because at 131 we were close. So we got that done and everything's back installed on this. I am going to do a squirter change on top. I'm going to take the 31s out and put 35s in front and rear. And I think this thing is going to be ready to go to Ubly and start testing soon. We're going to do a couple more motor pulls to make sure the tune's spot on. And then we're going to turn the system on and start spraying the nitrous to it and see what we can get done with that. But also, guys, we ended up knocking out the stock studs out of these drilled and slotted rotors and installing our ARP race studs into them, so we're good there. I had to order in a set of Weld 7/16 open-end washers and lug nuts for the correct shank for the Weld drag lights. Because as you guys know, on these drag lights, they're a 2-piece wheel. You guys can hear that in there. It's got a piece of aluminum in between the front and the rear of the wheel that when you tighten up the studs or the lug nuts, it squeezes it together. So you have to have the correct length shank lug nut to go with these wheels. So I special ordered them in from Weld, and when it's all said and done, it's going to have the same outcome as what we got here on the El Camino. The correct shank engagement and the correct amount sticking out. Because if you go to these bigger tracks, you know, NHRA tracks, they actually check your wheel studs and make sure that you have the correct engagement on your wheel stud for safety issues. Which even on the back here, we got 1/2 inch. We switched over to the screw end 1/2 inch studs when we put the Moser axles in here. So the back is correct also. But we ended up ordering also, we ordered in some spacers for the back of the Blazer so we can get the drag lights on the back of that, the big wheels, from Drag Race Solutions. Basically, they're the same setup as what these are, billet aluminum. Let me see. Billet aluminum nut spacers. We ordered in some more 5/8 flange nuts because we have the 5/8 Moser, I believe Moser or Strange wheel studs in the back, but they're the big dogs. So we got all that done. I dug out my jigs, line lock. We're going to be using that on the Blazer also, because we're getting ready to, like I said, we're getting ready to install the rotors and calipers on here. I ended up selling them 2-inch drop spindles, guys. I got talking to Jason over at JW Race Cars some more, and he told me that the old owner, he wanted the 2-inch drop spindles because he wanted this thing to be on the ground. And which you guys can see from previous videos, you know, even us loading it on the trailer, that back bumper was scraping the ground. So we're going to be bringing this up a couple inches in the back. We're going to leave the stock spindles on the front to get as much travel as we can. But yeah, we're getting ready to start doing the brakes on this. We're going to start plumbing the Wilwood system here. So whatever one I'm going to use for my front brakes, whatever reservoir we're going to use for the front brakes, I got to come out and probably mount the line lock up in here somewhere and start running brake lines. So we'll have brakes on this dang thing. But yeah, that's what we're doing. Like I said, we got the new spacers and nuts. We were short a couple of them for the big wheels. And another thing, guys, I wanted to clear up on these heads. I'm actually going through and going through some parts and getting everything, you know, checked out and everything counted up. But I gave you guys some incorrect information on these heads, and I wanted to clear that up. The old owner, he watches our videos, which is awesome. Thanks, Dave. And I thought these were for crankcase evacuation. And, you know, he's an old boy. He's an old-time racer. He's got a lot of tricks up his sleeves from the old guys. And he said this is actually an oil drain. Because if you have, you know, these big horsepower engines with good oiling systems, all your oil is at the top part of your engine. And if you have a car that launches like his did, you know, he was pulling 120 60 foots, and he said he's even went lower than that. So anywhere from a 1.0 to a 110 to a 120 60 foot, he said all the oil that's up in the top of your head, it rushes to the back of the head and it'll try puddling up. So what this does, this actually, you know, this is the 8AN line. This will have a line that runs down to your oil pan, and it drains the oil from the, you know, when your car launches, it'll drain the oil back into your pan. And he said anytime that you can get more oil to the pan faster, it saves the life of your engine. So, you know, that's another good trick from one of the old hot rodders. So anything that I can learn, you know, from these old boys is very much appreciated. So I wanted to clear that up. That is not for crankcase evacuation. That is for oil evacuation on hard launches. Our valve covers actually have a bung already welded in it for a vacuum pump for crankcase evacuation. So we'll be putting a vacuum pump on that, you know, on these valve covers to take care of that part of the problem. And I don't know if I'm going to keep these on here or if I'm just going to plug them. He said you could plug them if you're not, you know, if... I don't know what we're, you know, I doubt we're going to be doing what he's doing. His race program is a lot farther along than ours is, so I don't know if we're going to be having to worry about launching it that hard to do it, because I'd have to actually cut the oil pan and weld in a bung and run the lines down. So we just might be plugging them off for now. But another thing I wanted to show you guys that he told me about was, you know, a lot of the old-time racers on here, they'll probably understand what I'm talking about and know what I'm talking about. But he said that, you know, this port work that was done in here is actually called shrouding the valves. So what it is, you take your valves out before, you know, when you're at the machine shop, before you get your new guides and all that, and your 5 to 7 angle valve job done, you take and you shroud the valves. And what that does, it knocks down all the high points, the sharp edges. It's a nice clean flow into your head area. You know, it looks like this is incomplete, but he says if I wanted to go back through and actually, you know, polish it, I could. He said, but as far as he was concerned, it was done, because once you fire the engine up, you're never going to see none of these swirl marks in here anyway. But yeah, that's called shrouding the valves, man. And let me tell you, these valves are huge. I don't think you can go with a much bigger valve in these heads. I mean, they are definitely big. So these heads are pretty awesome. I mean, they're all ported here. Like I said, the intakes match to it. So they're all ported on the exhaust. So, man, these are awesome. But yeah, I got some of my stuff out, just checking things out. We got the Competition Engineering guide plates in here, the Crane Gold Rockers, the screw-in studs. I'm just kind of going through and checking everything out, making sure I got everything. I might have to go to a 2-piece guide plate if I can't get the angle right on the you know, to center your rockers on your valves. But over here, you know, I got the push rods out that I think are going to be correct. It came with the kit that I bought with the rockers, the stud girdles, the poly locks. But he had a small base circle solid roller cam in that big block Chevy, so hopefully these push rods work. But I just kind of wanted to show you the difference from stock to these. Man, what a difference! These are 945 080 wall thick, thickness. These are some big dog push rods compared to what would come stock in a big block Chevy. And also, your stud girdles take a small poly lock and a big poly lock, You always want to make sure your long one goes on your intake side of the head. So the long poly lock would go here. So just a FYI for you guys. The long poly lock always goes on your angled valves. You know, that way they're sitting back. You can't have them up front because they'll hit the valve cover. But yeah, that's what we're doing, guys. We're just out here messing around, checking. I wanted to clear up some miscommunication on these heads. You know, the oil drains or drains, not evacuation for the crankcase pressure. So that was my fault. So I wanted to clear that up. But yeah, we're out here getting stuff cleaned up. We're at the point where I can't find anything. I can't work on my benches. So we're going to take some time and get everything cleaned up. And like I said, we're going to get the calipers and rotors installed on the Blazer. Get the drag lights put on the front. We're going to switch the squirters out on the El Camino. And have Al come and get that, Big Al from Tony's over there. I hooked him up on that square body seat. I put it on the internet for sale. And in the old internet fashion, you know, everybody's trying to get something for nothing. They didn't like my pricing on it. You know, there's no rips, tears in it. You know, a nice old square body seat. But, of course, they were trying to chop my head off on the price. Well, will you take this, that, and the other for it? I was like, no. So if I'm just going to end up basically giving away, I might as well give it to a buddy that needs it. He bought a square body from Tony that he's going to be redoing, and looks like the mice got to his seat. So, but anyways, guys, I'm going to put you on the tripod. I just wanted to clear up a couple things, and we're going to get this mess of a garage cleaned up. That way we can get some work done and see if we can get something going on this Blazer, get them calipers and rotors installed. Hang with us. Alright, everybody, we kind of got the garage all cleaned up. Some, but I still got to do a little bit more work here on this bench, but the main workbench, we're good to go. We're probably not going to be able to put the calipers and rotors on the Blazer today. As you can see, the wife's gone to work. She's not here, and I'm out of wheel bearing grease. Damn it. After the car trailer, it pretty much sucked it all up, so I don't have the grease to pack the bearings in that right now, so we're going to have to hold off on that until she gets here and I go get some wheel bearing grease. But I was over here getting everything done up on the heads. We put all the guide plates in. And they're competition cam, not competition engineering, like I said earlier. What a dumbass. But, like I said before, I'm not perfect. So, yeah, they're competition cams. And then we got the guide plates in, the poly locks all set up, and the stud girdles on. Good place for them instead of just chilling out on top of the toolbox there. And then the miscellaneous cans and this, I might as well just... I cleaned everything up on the old wire wheel, all the rocker studs, got all them nice and clean. So they threaded in there nice. So good place to store all the stuff is right bolted on the head. Everything looks good. Like I said earlier, I might have to go to a 2-piece guide plate. I'm not sure yet. So we'll have to see after we get everything, you know, bolted on the engine, and then see where everything falls. If it falls into place, then and the rockers line up good on the end of the valves there. So, you know, sometimes them 2-piece studs or guide plates, like the ones that were on Jay's, they were actually a Dart guide plate, and they took a little Allen nut and bolt. Remember the nice ones. The AFRs, they come like a teeth that lock together like a puzzle piece, and they're kind of a pain in the ass because you got to set your guide plates where they're perfectly, your roller tips are perfectly straight, mark them, take them back off, and then tack weld them. So that was what we had to do on the guide plates on the small block here for the El Camino. They're actually tack welded, and not very fun to do, but it is what it is. But anyways, guys, since we don't have the wheel bearing grease and we can't get any the rotors and everything started on the Blazer, we're probably just gonna end this video here. The next video, you'll see us, if nothing else important pops up, we'll be doing the front brakes, calipers, rotors, and putting the drag lights on the front of the Blazer, and possibly putting the big tires on just to see where it's sitting. And we'll be dropping the big block down in it with the cast iron heads. We'll set it in there. And another thing I wanted to show you is that when you guys use the mid plates, which this is a big block one, I have the small block one there. The thickness of this, this is actually a spacer that goes behind your flywheel. And you can see here, if I can get in here good enough. That's the same thickness as of the mid plate. So the difference that the mid plate's going to make up for spacing the tranny away from, the engine, this will go behind the flywheel. That way you'll have the correct starter engagement. So just an FYI, if you guys ever use a mid plate setup, you're going to have to get the spacer behind the flywheel. But anyways, guys, that's going to wrap it up for this video. Like I said, as usual, I really appreciate everybody for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, share, subscribe, and we'll catch you guys on the next video. All right, bye-bye.